game! Let's fucking go!
Peace out.
Hello, everybody. It is your boy Taladia Plays, and welcome back to another Snyder Fans Read Comics issue stream. I'm your Taladia Plays, as always, and we're going to be talking about the Justice League issue number 20. But before we do, let's bring on my co-host at this time, Jared from Comics League. And where's his intro? There it is.
That
Hello.
could not be any more appropriate for a secret Easter egg in this issue.
Oh yes, definitely.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Before we start, guys, we got to talk about this. Big things are going to be happening on the channel next week. A big surprise stream for you guys, a special stream, because we reached the goal of 2,000 subscribers.
Congrats, brother.
And Peak has become a member. Thank you for becoming a member.
Congrats, brother. Well deserved.
Yes. So 2,000 subscriber special stream will be happening next week instead of Snyder Fans Read Comics.
Dope.
Anyway, let's talk about issue 20, because what a momentous occasion this is.
This is going to be a good one. So, as you know, Despero is attacking the Justice League.
Yes.
Here you go. So we open up with Element Woman, and so basically she can like change her body into any type of element. She's going to play a significant role through and beyond Trinity War, so pay attention to her. And she's getting lunch for the Justice League. She teleports on the tower, and they're attacked by Despero.
Of course.
And I love Despero. He's like, who are you? We're the Justice League. It's like, we're Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. We're all the characters that anyone really wants to fight. And that's I love when the other heroes are like B-listers and they treat them as such. It's really funny. So they fight, obviously. And the League briefly considers leaving. But then they're like, no, we can't leave. We're the Justice League. We're supposed to fight villains like Despero.
We fight,
so
we win.
Firestorm essentially goes to war. Essentially, he like uses metal to like create like rockets and launch them at Despero, and obviously they're fighting a significantly more powerful hero than any of these characters can handle. So that's actually really cool how they go with the whole hopelessness. And then Firestorm is he's hit with such a blast that Despero manages to separate Firestorm into his two parts.
Right.
So they just lost their most powerful
ally.
Yeah, their most powerful person. And then so the League is further so we're continuing the discussion amongst the Trinity, and they're talking about, again, back to previous issue when the kryptonite ring was stolen.
Yeah.
And they're talking about the ring, and then Diana asks, where did you even get a kryptonite ring? And then Superman goes, oh, I gave it to him. It's pretty much like Superman, as a gesture of trust to Batman, said, I'm going to give you this kryptonite. Kind of like in the Doom movie and all that, and the Tower of Babel comic.
Yeah.
And so then they battle, and then John Jones shows up.
A monster-looking John Jones behind you.
New 52. And by the way, that right there is the Easter egg. So this note is actually means something. That's how crazy it is. So in Greek, it's from Clark to Diana to Clark, and it says, because I happen to be friends with the Super Wonder Shipper who hosts a podcast with me. So the note says, Clark, Face me, my dear one, and unveil the grace in thine eyes, Diana.
Ooh.
I didn't know that was something. I thought it was just a note that they wrote in there.
You know, I love letter type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know it was an actual note. I thought it was just, okay, I'm just going to draw squiggles. I was going to draw squiggles. No, they actually gave it something. And I'm like, okay, you know what? That is clever. I appreciate that. And essentially, Jean Jones does a battle with Despero. Superman, so the League, the actual League, hears about the attack on the Watchtower. Superman flies off because he can obviously fly there in time. And Martian Manhunter and Despero go to the moon and are like fighting. I love this image of Despero tearing the Martian skeleton apart.
Ooh, that is nasty and brutal.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of this is brutal. And then what Martian Manhunter does is he turns into the sand of Mars and basically swallows Despero. He goes, I limited the use of my telepathy, but this time your mind is mine to walk into. It is mine to play with. And I'm like, okay, that is freaking badass. Mind to break. And then it destroys, he basically breaks Despero's mind. And then the Watchtower almost crashes. I believe almost crashes here.
Yeah.
And we see that Despero had the kryptonite ring. That's kind of interesting how he had that device. Everyone's like, where did he get it? Oh, yeah, actually, the Watchtower did crash. I remember this because this is a plot point in Forever Evil. This looks like how it was at the end. Yes, exactly. It is kind of that. It is kind of that. So, the atom shrinks down to the atomic level to look at the kryptonite, and he goes, someone carved out a sliver of kryptonite from the ring. So, in other words, someone shrunk down, carved a sliver of kryptonite from the ring.
Kryptonite.
That's not, yeah, kryptonite. And then Clark goes to Superman and brings him down to the Batcave and shows him the contingency plans. But then he shows one for Wonder Woman. He opens it, it's empty. And he said, so Diana doesn't have like one weakness thing like kryptonite. You're Diana's kryptonite. He goes, the hard truth is that if she ever crosses the line, you're the only one that could stop her. You're the box. And this was part of Tomasi, of later Tomasi's sabotage in the Super Wonder relationship. So I have to mention it. It's in here. Clark goes to Superman and takes him to the Batcave duet. I may have said that. I may have misspoken. It's
it's a comic league
Clark and Bruce go to the Batcave. All right. So he sees he's got all the contingency plans for all of them. Even I love how he opens the box for Batman and he goes, what? And I'm like, what could take down Batman? In the movie, they did it better, where basically he said, I do have a contingency plan for myself. It's called the Justice League. Like, you guys will be able to stop me because I'm a human.
Because I'm freaking Batman.
Yeah. So then the Atom is contacted by her superiors, and she shrinks down into the internet and goes to Amanda Waller. Turns out she's a double agent for Amanda Waller and the Justice League of America, spying on the Justice League. And there is the nation's favorite sad sack, Steve Trevor, who, Tom King, please kill him. Kill him. And
now's your opportunity.
Yeah, and that is how Justice League issue 20 ends. And I believe we are now up to Trinity War.
Yes. And by the way, this backstory is pretty good.
Yeah, so basically it's Billy is confronting Black Adam, and we get the backstory for Black Adam. So it turns out the Sun got the powers, but Teth Adam needed the strength to protect, to get payback on those that killed his family. So he kills his son and takes the powers. And yeah, so then the Shazam family go to like help him, and then they're under like they're like being held hostage by Black Adam, and more on that in the next week's backup issue. So here's some art and some weird backup issue. I have those action figures, and we are done with issue 20.
So I can say that the artwork for this wasn't as better than last week's.
Yeah, because I think last week's was Ivan Reyes. It is kind of jarring.
Yeah, Pika's nephew, he was Black Adam's nephew. The movie changed it to his son.
Okay. And by the way, the next issue is all concluding the Black Adam and Shazam fight.
Ooh, okay. Samir, what we're talking about is the Justice League, and basically we're talking about issue by issue DC's New 52 run of the Justice League, because leading up to Absolute Power, also Absolute Universe, we're covering basically the universe that basically was the greatest thing that happened to DC in a decade, right? So we're covering stuff that basically is good for DC, that was good for DC about a decade ago, and we're gonna get onto the new universe in a few months' time, where we're gonna be covering that. Myself and Jared will be covering Absolute Batman, Absolute Wonder Woman, Absolute Superman. Those are the Trinity we're gonna go for.
Hell
But anyway, I think back to today's issue, right? Because we got to bring it back to today's issue.
So I liked it, but it wasn't as good as the previous ones, because it seemed kind of like the actual Justice League were just there. So I'm like, we do that because we titled it that because Snyder fans get accused of not reading comics.
Yeah, Snyder. They say to us that Snyder fans never read comics, and we literally are covering comics, and we're literally covering stuff that influence Zack Snyder's Justice League, Superman, Batman, potentially even Wonder Woman. You know, those characters that in that world, you get to explore that basically through the comic form instead of movies, right? That way you kind of understand how Zack did his Justice League, or how Zack did his Superman or Batman or Wonder Woman or Flash, whatever, right? You kind of get the gist of it then. At least you got the idea and that what we're covering. And nobody else is doing this, by the way. No other Snyder fans is doing what I'm doing right now.
They should.
They should, but we're the only people right now covering New 52 Justice League a decade later, and we're still making it as popular as it is right now. But anyway, I think cool. Yeah, Samir, cool. But I think back to today's issue though, I think the artwork was jarring, as you said, right? I didn't mind the action scene at all. I
love the Martian Manhunter fight where he turns into the sands of Mars and just swallows Despero and goes, "You're mine now." Like, yes.
You know what it reminded me of?
What?
The Injustice video game, where he turns into the opponent's character, and then he goes into a big thing and then slams them.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, you mean his like his final move?
His super move, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
That's what maybe this comic inspired.
Could have. Then again, it could just be like, okay, so how do we destroy the Justice League? Oh yeah, we'll just create very. It was kind of funny. Martian Manhunter dies in like the first year of the comic, so I'm like, why is he a playable character in the game?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but I'll say this: like, I think that it's pretty cool that he's become a pivotal role in the New 52 for this comic, and I find it also interesting that it's not the other dude in Firestorm, it's Ronnie.
You mean it's not Professor Stein? That was the way it was, because Ronnie is actually merged with the guy who was Firestorm in Legends of Tomorrow, Jason.
That is so weird.
They kind of flipped it around a little bit in the new 52, where it was those two, because previously, yes, it's Ronnie and Professor Stein are the classic pairing for Firestorm.
Yeah. Pika says it was inspired by the end of JLA 1997 run, DC 1 million with John Ford Despero, and was the sands of Mars in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. So I'm learning a lot here right now. I'm just telling you guys that now. So I'm learning a little bit. Thank you, Pika. But I think as well, what we got to say as well is the fact that this issue, it definitely picks up, like, the action is really cool. And I like the fact that Batman's contingency plan, he basically lays it out to Superman at the end.
He actually tells me, he's like, hey, dude, here's what I have in case you guys go evil.
Here's my contingency plans for you guys. And not only that, for me as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, so that kind of, pretty cool. But what one plot twist, I wasn't expecting the Atom to be a spy and double crossing the League with Justice League in America.
Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet.
That was a surprise for me. I'm not gonna lie there, because
there's more surprises in line, dude. Trust me.
No, but it's like, for me, it's like, as I'm just like, wait, how is she double crossing them? Is this just supposed to be on the League? It did confuse me a little bit. But
you're about to be a little more confused when you read like the later issues. Trust me.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. But I'll say this though: if I had to rate this book, though, this issue, I would have to probably give it a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10.
7.5 out of 10. Yeah, I think that's a bit fair. It's still well written. It's just, compared to the other ones, the art is not as good, or it's like not my cup of tea, really.
We'll be on to that next, Pika, Trinity War. That'll be I think that's our next arc, isn't it?
Next arc, yes. The next issue is concluding the Shazam story.
Okay, so
because Shazam actually plays a part in Trinity War.
Okay, so I cannot wait to do that, as not next week, but the week after, because we're taking that 1 week break because we're doing a special stream. But yeah, I think as well, I think it'd be pretty cool for us to do like when we cover this stuff, guys. It's like we're not only dissecting this stuff, but we're also learning a lot of new things along the way. Like, Jared did not know about the note thing in the comic until Britt told him.
Yeah, I'm literally like, because again, I thought it was just like, it's just a piece of paper. And then Britt's like, no, it actually means something.
So we're kind of learning along the way, guys. We're kind of relearning, but it's a great thing. Hey, what's up, Tevia? But yeah, we're enjoying this. We're kind of, I gotta say, issue 20 is pretty good in terms of reading the story, not the artwork, just the story. I think what they could have improved on is using a different artist. I think it would have been far better to have the guy from the last issue.
Yeah.
Do this issue.
You mean Ivan Reyes?
Ivan Reyes, yeah.
Yeah.
Have Ivan Reyes.
I think he could have done that.
Tavia, we're covering issue 20 of Justice League. That's what we're covering right now. We're just talking about it. We've dissected a lot in the last 20 minutes. And we're also going to be doing something towards the end of the stream where we're talking about different things. But anyway, but yeah, like Ivan Reyes should have done this issue, I feel. If not him, Jim Lee, right?
Again, Jim Lee was really busy at this point because remember, he's also at this point, he's like the co-publisher of DC, so maybe he doesn't have a lot of time to draw everything. I would love for him to like draw practically every book, but unfortunately,
you know what I would love Jim Lee to do?
What?
The Absolute Superman book.
I'm sure he'll do a cover for it for sure.
A variant cover, yes.
Mm-hmm.
A variant cover for it. And for him just to say, "Hey, I got a Superman book if with my art style." And it
That
was
would be
pretty cool.
dope.
You know what? If I can get a poster of that, I'll put it on my wallpaper on my phone and everything.
Yep.
But guys, I'll say this, right? This if you guys haven't read comics, now's the time to start reading comics, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Before the Absolute Universe starts, now's a really cool time to pick up comics, whether it's older ones like the New 52 or the newer ones. But I recommend the older ones like the New 52, where you're kind of leaning into that similarity with the Absolute Universe, right? So at least you know what you're getting into. Like, am I right? Am I wrong?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Particularly with like the Absolute Universe, like essentially starting fresh, but also giving you like some lore. I'm sure they'll factor in.
Yeah, I think I would love to know who was the designer for the hair, because I'm just like the mullet.
The super mullet. Yeah, exactly.
I'm just like, I would rather have him have like the frizzy thing like he had in the New 52. Just go for that. That would have been
Mhm.
fine. Tevye says I also forgot this book connected to Justice League of America.
Yep.
It says Pika says I read what I can when I'm not researching source material. Yeah, but I'm talking about new readers, Pika. I'm talking about people that haven't read comics before. This is like for them,
Yeah, because they're intimidated by like the lore and like getting into it. But this is actually a really good time to do it because hey, they're practically starting fresh on a lot of stuff.
Basically they're practically
Plus, with DC All In, the intended purpose of that is to give like some jumping on points for people.
I'll say as well with this like with DC and how they're producing things now. You got two universes. Start promoting the older books, right? I would say, I would say if I was in DC's shoes, I would say to readers, go back to the New 52, start reading up that, right? If you want to get familiarize yourself with Absolute Universe. Tavia says, I'm curious about an Absolute Universe will connect to the mainline universe. And do you think this book will be similar to the New 52 Earth 2 but not destroyed?
Yep. I think that's generally the idea, except yeah, I think that's generally the idea for the Absolute, is to have like another universe that is going concurrently with the main one.
I think as well, guys, I think what's also cool about the Absolute Universe is that it's completely different. Like, you've got a God of War Wonder Woman.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. You've got what's it called? A Hulk Batman. Right? And then you've got a Superman that is an alien. Not our Boy Scouty Superman that, who's a coward Superman. This guy is like a really cool looking dude.
Suck it, Rebirth Superman.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it out there, right? Jared, you gotta agree with me on this, right? This new universe, right? The Superman looks really, really cool, and it definitely picks up.
Yeah, it does. I think it's really cool.
Randy says, the nostalgia crowd isn't gonna like this.
They don't like anything unless it's post-crisis, really, really, really niche Superman. So at this point, I really think DC would be better off not taking a break from catering to the nostalgia crowd.
Yeah. Tavia says, because all we know how New 52 Earth 2 went, it started out stronger but slowly declined in quality and went off the rails real quick.
I don't think they'll do it this time. I don't think that they'll decline at this point.
He's saying, which I'm hoping this new universe doesn't copy Earth 2. I don't think it'll copy Earth 2. I think it'd be completely different than it.
It'll copy the parts that made Earth 2 good, but probably not the stuff that made Earth 2 bad.
I wonder, are they going to bring Steppenwolf into the fold?
What?
Are they going to bring Steppenwolf into the fold?
I'd imagine so, because Darkseid is like the villain of
Or the multiverse.
Yeah, basically he's the villain of that whole like event that they're doing with All In. Now, the interesting thing that I'm seeing here is that I'm wondering, well, actually that I'm seeing is that a lot of people are upset. They're like, they're bringing back the New 52.
That's a good thing.
And I'm like, yes, that is a very good thing, because Rebirth destroyed DC. Yes, I will say that.
Yeah, Tevia. Basically, they won't copy Earth 2 Worlds End or Society, which
Yes. Hence why I said they won't copy the bad, but they'll copy what made it good.
The good aspects, like what we're doing. We're talking about the good aspects of DC New 52. They're just copying us.
And before you ask, Taladia, I don't want to speak for you, but I think you're going to agree with me on this. We're never covering anything with DC Rebirth.
We're never covering Rebirth. That's never gonna happen.
Unless you want to get pissed off at how DC got super petty, but I get the feeling we don't want to do that.
No, actually, I don't want to cover that.
Good.
So I just want to cover the good books. New 52, Absolute Universe.
And there was extremely few good books in Rebirth.
Those are the only two comic universe I'm going to cover, right? New 52 and Absolute Universe, because I believe those two universes kind of match in a way, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. They do. It's the same idea pretty much. Even
though it's like almost 10 years almost 10 years since the New 52 launched. Not over a decade. I should say over a decade since the New 52 launch. But Randy says, I'm not sure how I feel about Batman looking bulky like a Megazord.
Watch it turn out he's on like Bane's toxin. Watch. I guarantee you that's why.
That would be cool.
That would be, because if he doesn't have all those resources, why don't they give him the Bane toxin? That would be cool.
That would be cool. You know what would be also cool?
What?
Wonder Woman saying, doing the battle cry.
Yes, them leaning into the warrior part of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Oh, they definitely will with this version of Wonder Woman. One that doesn't have like the support system of her family or the island. Yeah, they're going heavily into the warrior side.
No, Tevia, I have to disagree with you there. He says,
no,
I'm not sure.
Tevia, it's called an Elseworld story. That's what it is. You have the human Superman. That's fine. And no, what about it sounds Omni-Man? What about it sounds Omni-Man?
Kind of explain to us, why does it feel like Omni-Man to us?
Yeah, if you make a claim, back it up. Because Omni-Man is evil but turns good. As far as we know, according to the guys in charge of this, he's still Superman. The whole idea about how Superman needs his connection to humanity in order to remain Superman, I'm sorry, is kind of false.
You know what? I had a thought. What if Superman's humanity comes through Wonder Woman?
I know. Let me put it this way. That's too good of an idea for DC to do it. I had a similar idea that I proposed to Britt, and she goes, that's too much. That's too good of an idea for DC to go with it.
No, and the reason why I say that is basically because it's not only because it's DC, but I just think it's perfect. It's perfect for Superman and perfect for Wonder Woman, and they can connect together, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then there's no Lois Lane involved, Steve Trevor involved.
We all know Superman is better when she's not involved.
I don't think Steve Trevor's going to be involved in this Absolute Universe either.
I highly doubt, because his only usefulness, like I've said, is getting her off the island. She's already off the island in this.
Yeah. So Tevia says that's true. You're absolutely right. To clarify, I don't mean evil Superman part from Omni-Man, because obviously we know that already. What I mean by that statement, I mean Superman being more.
He's gonna
Oh.
continue it.
Okay. We'll let you finish your thing, Tevia. But what I was going to say, Jared, I think the humanity works with Wonder Woman would work really well. Now, for the Batman aspect, I think what would really work is the dynamic between you got this normal person being a superhero that he hasn't got rich, he hasn't got a butler or anything, and he's helping an alien out, right?
Yeah.
So it's got me thinking. At San Diego Comic-Con, do we reckon we're going to get a Trinity book?
Probably, because according to what they said is that they have more books in the works for All In, and that some of the stuff is stuff that fans have asked for but didn't get, like Justice League. Okay, being more alien than human doesn't sound interesting, but kind of but kind of off the extent, I don't know yeah, exactly. So judging by that, it doesn't sound like a good idea. Is saying that without knowing what the story is kind of wait until you know what the story is.
What's also exciting, Jared, is the fact that it's a different thing. It's
different. Yes, exactly. They're doing something different with Superman for once.
And for
that's
Batman.
Especially why I'm going to try out this universe, because they're doing new stuff. Because remember,
different with Wonder Woman too.
Yeah, exactly. Because remember, I have reached the point of agreeing that Steve Trevor should be reduced into origin. Yeah, thank you. Because what does he serve at as soon as he leaves? But anyway, Claudia, we talked about this whenever they were proposing this absolute universe. What was my concern? My concern was that they were going to make it too similar to the previous one. This kind of indicates that may not happen. And by the way, it looks like, to go off of what Tevia said about Tom King is also ending, according to people that I know, a few of the I believe the arcs are ending in
October. No.
Wait. The current arcs for all these books are ending with Absolute Power. So the whole Sovereign storyline is going to be done before Absolute, because even DC said new arcs that new people can just jump into. Now, this also means I'm going to give Tom King another shot. If it's a different story without the Sovereign, I don't care what his name is, because he's an irrelevant supervillain. That's it. Do I think we'll get to that point with DC sales being the way they are? No, but we'll see. I hope they do.
I'm going to disagree with you there. I think I'm going to push you back there. I think, here's my take. I think with the two universes, I think the Absolute universe will skyrocket.
No, but what I mean is that will DC last long enough for them to get to the point of launching the universe in October? Because here's the thing. They could say any plans that they want, but if sales are that bad, plus with WB selling off assets, I'm wondering if it's going to get to the point where they'll just say, okay, stop this. Hard reboot. We're undoing everything.
I'm going to say this, and then we'll switch up the gears and we'll talk about something else. I still believe that DC will probably pull a rabbit out of the hat when it comes down to this universe thing, because I have that faith that Scott Snyder knows what he's doing, right?
That's true. The potential is there. It's just DC is also known for not living up to their potential.
It's not like, it's not like how the old regime was, where they brought in a different writer, completely trash the Superman book or the Superman Wonder Woman book or whatever, right? And kind of ruined the universe. They're not going to go down that route. I don't think they'll ever go down that avenue again. I think what they'll stick to the writers that they have, and they'll stick to that only, because if they bring in the new writers, they could possibly ruin it. Like He Who Must Not Be Named did that. So I'll say that. Tevia says, Jared, makes a good point. Plans could actually change like that, and this universe may not get off the ground, slightly similar to James Gunn's universe.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, with all of the craziness with DC, I'm saying you can like it and be excited for what's coming out. My problem is I'm not gonna believe it until I'm literally holding those issues in my hands at this point.
There will be a point where I just think we have to do like a reaction to everything that comes up to San Diego Comic-Con at one point, right? Next week we're gonna have to do a reaction to it, because I'm sure there's gonna be like tons of videos or tons of
There'll
stuff.
be tons of news in there. Yeah, exactly.
So we're gonna have to do like a stream specifically for that, guys. So that's why next week is a special stream as well. That's another reason why. But I think we talked a lot about Absolute and New 52. Time to switch up some gears, shall we, and talk about something different outside the comic book realm.
Okay.
Okay, so transition, please. All right. So we got to talk about movies. Oh, sorry, TV show first. And that is Superman and Lois season 4 teaser trailer, right? And I got to say, the logo looks pretty cool.
Yeah, they're homaging the black suit Superman.
And you know what's also cool about this?
What?
About this trailer? Super Doomed holding Superman, and you could actually see Superman dead.
I knew they were gonna. I mean, the minute they say Doomsday, you know they're gonna kill him. So, what do you? It's like when the BVS trailer first came out and Doomsday was in the trailer. Even before I knew what comics were, I knew Doomsday killed Superman. So I'm like, oh, okay, they're doing the death of Superman. But I'm interested to see how long he stays dead. Is this a whole season thing and he comes back to life at the end? Or is he dead and that's it, we're done, and then his son becomes Superman?
And yes, Tavia, we know that you're
Tavia, we know.
We know the fact that Superman Lois is ending, and thanks to James Gunn. But things can change, you know, when it comes down to in the future, they could actually bring the show back at one point, you know, in a different format, maybe animation. You never know.
Comics.
Yeah. Randy says Warner Brothers needs money. I believe sales is kind of important. Like likes and retweets don't pay the bill.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I think they're starting to buckle. Because here's the thing. Here's why they went all in on James Gunn, the DCU, because they thought that the likes and retweets were going to lead to like their stock prices going up. And guess what? It didn't happen. If anything, they just kept going down and down and down and down. So really at this point, what I really Pika, it was Doomsday. For the purpose of that movie, it was Doomsday, okay?
Yeah.
From the general audience perspective, that was Doomsday. I'm just saying this from the general audience perspective. They even call him your Doomsday. So my point, the point of this whole thing is, when it comes to W, I guarantee you, they're gonna if they start selling off DC, then I think things are gonna get very, very interesting. Because that stock price keeps going down, they're gonna need to sell a lot. And honestly, selling DC would lead to like a lot of money going into their pockets. And if DC is sold, I don't think the Gunverse or any of DC plans are gonna go forward.
Yeah, we'll get to the sale bit in a minute, but Cameron says DC for some reason doesn't do multiple series as they used to. Now they want one series, which never works.
Because guess why? WB and DC thinks we're all stupid and that we can't tell that Tyler Hoechlin's Superman is different than David Cornsweat.
Yeah. Randy says, as much as I can't stand Lois, I think canceling Superman and Lois TV show is a really dumb idea.
No, because that show is popular. We've covered it.
It's a dumb idea to cancel the show. Like I think the idea of them canceling it was a really bad idea. I think it would have been far better for the IP alone to have multiple Superman. right?
Yeah, but according to some insiders, Gunn doesn't want anything competing or overshadowing his stuff.
That's dumb in my opinion.
Which shows why he's continuing that stupid My Adventures with Superman series, because it's really like he doesn't see that as a threat. That's the funny part.
Tevia, Marvel aren't gonna buy DC. That's never gonna happen.
No, there's no way that would happen. The FCC
so,
is never going to let that happen.
And Sony buying it? No. If Sony was gonna buy it, they'll probably buy the games division, if anything.
Yeah, most likely. Which would suck because then all DC games are going to be PlayStation exclusive. They don't have to buy a PlayStation.
Tevia says, like, I don't get it why we have all three Superman be by our side by side one on my videos, one the movie, and then you can have all three.
Because WB again thinks we're stupid. According to William from the Sci-Fi Center, he goes, he backs me up on this. He's like, you can't tell me the general audience is not gonna somehow not be able to know that like Henry Cavill is a different Superman from David Cornsweet. That's the thing that I really thought was stupid, because you had Ben Affleck come out in The Flash and the Batman come out. No one thought they were the same Batman.
Yeah. Cameron says the fact that James Gunn said that I don't want it to be popular than my Superman.
Yeah.
Should be already telling how
that's all you got to know about the ego on that guy.
But I'll say this before we talk about the big thing, right? I'll say that the way DC is handling their IPs is really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Or WB, I should say, is handling it. The IP is really bad. Mm-hmm. I think doing Superman and Lois season 4, they could have done at least 2 more seasons. Do 5 seasons.
I would say so. You could have still done the death of Superman and have that be like a transformational issue thing.
No, you could have done that half of season 4 and half season 4 and the beginning of season 5, right?
Yeah.
You know, you could have done it like that. And it would have sold like gangbusters. And it would have got people glued to their screen and got people talking about it.
No, because here's what WB doesn't get. Stop giving people, stop making people choose one or the other when you can give them options. If you give people options, guess what happens? They're more likely to invest because you get more money. That's the thing. If you give me options like you can watch the Snyderverse and the Gunverse, yeah, I'll check out both. But if I have to choose between the two, I'm not going to go with the dude that's known for making very sexually explicit jokes that I hate.
Yeah. Pika says, yeah, the general audience isn't dumb because we have Robert Pattinson's Batman's universe going forward.
That's my point. Thank you, Tevia.
James Gunn's Batman, but not having multiple accords to WB, which is dumb. Cameron says, so if DC does get sold, is it going to be the same thing as Marvel, where we have Fantastic Four, X-Men, Spider-Man, and Avengers in different universes?
I think they'll all be sold as a unit, or they'll sell the movie rights to all of the characters, and then the comics will be like outsourced to another company, like to Todd McFarlane or Skybound or anything like that.
Pika says, remember when Walter Hamada said that Stargirl and the Batman are both set in Earth 2?
He said, what? He was trying to put all of his eggs in one basket, saying, look, we have a multiverse, but there's no indication that the Batman is in Stargirl.
Yeah. But let's talk about this, because I think we talked about Superman enough. The Batman's got a new universe name.
Oh, yeah.
Batman Crime something. I can't remember the full name.
I think it's the Crime Universe or something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that. But basically, that's a really cool name. That what Matt Reeves has said. It's just the same.
Instead of the Reavers, it's like, okay, that makes sense.
It's just a shame James Gunn is trying to overtake his stuff.
He definitely is. I guarantee. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they don't do a sequel to The Batman. If they do like Penguin and then say, okay, we're done. We always meant to end it that way.
I mean, there is rumors saying that it's still happening, so
we'll see. Because remember, we were supposed to get Henry Cavill back as Superman.
So Tevye saying, wait, so you're telling me Robert Pattinson's Batman gets to exist, but not Superman? Why? How is that fair for us fans who like Superman? Because
Because
here's the
be-
thing, Tevye, it's more
yeah.
grounded. It's a more grounded universe. It's not a universe that is, how Zack Snyder's universe was. It's
Well,
not like that.
also because Batman is more of a guaranteed sale than Superman, so they probably have more confidence in doing multiple Superman stuff.
Yeah, and the
I
fact
mean,
that but the,
Batman, yeah.
but the fact that Warner Brothers wants to do different things with Robert Pattinson's universe says it all. But I think we also got to talk about this, Jared. The special announcement coming from the SDCC. What could it be for DC? Makes me think, don't you?
I'm thinking it could actually be. Let's see. What is it? Okay, I don't want to hype people up, but someone in the Nicotina's group chat was like, Zack Snyder's going to SDCC and it's supposed to be about another grouping.
Another property. What if it's a gaming related?
And unannounced property. Could be the Justice League game that they're gonna could be what they're gonna do is update the timeline for Suicide Squad and say Justice League game.
You know what? If they did that, I'll be like, thank God. Firstly, thank God. And secondly, the rumors were true.
Yeah, exactly.
Samir says, hold on, let me get his name. Hold on. James Gunn on video announcing the actors for Lantern and more.
That could also work too. I'm fine with that. At least, yeah, let us know who's doing that. I'm not really that big on Lanterns because Tom King is involved in the writing and he doesn't have a good track record when it comes to Lanterns.
Oh, no, he doesn't. Tevye says it could be Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon project for his universe, but it's not DC.
No, it's a DC thing. DC Studios has an announcement.
I think it's either the Wonder Woman anime, potentially. It could be that.
Okay, that's interesting. If they're really doing a Wonder Woman thing, but honestly, I don't think they are because DC does not respect Wonder Woman.
I know, Jared, but think about it logically, right? This is DC Studios, so they're gonna try and put the big hitters, at least one of their big hitters, out there, right? So if I was in James Gunn and Peter Safran's shoes, I'd be like, okay, we got the announcement for Brave and the Bold. We're just almost done filming Superman. What we haven't done is announce Wonder Woman, right?
They could announce the writers for Paradise Lost.
That will be another thing too,
because that's the only Wonder Woman thing that they have in production, and accordingly, they don't have plans for Wonder Woman until like 2028. I think is what they said.
Tevye says, I'm still curious on the animated projects as well, because since Crisis and Tomorrowverse, what does this mean for the rest of DC? There's not going to be a multiple universes though, Tevye. There's not going to be like, let's say Dikamu or.
I'm thinking whoever's in charge of animation is going to ignore that.
Yeah. Samir says Tom King won't be the sole writer, though, right?
Yeah, but still, he's involved. And then you have Damon Lindelof as another writer. And I'm like, this just gets worse and worse and worse.
So we'll have to wait and see. But I assure you guys, whatever DC shows off this weekend, because it is this weekend, right?
Yeah, it's going to be big. So, I mean, it better be big.
So whatever DC shows off this weekend, you betcha that next Wednesday, we'll be discussing this as a live stream. So it won't be called Snyder Fans Read Comics. It'll be like we'll think of a brand name or a title name or something for next week's stream, because it's SDCC. It's the biggest event for comic books. So as a comic book guys, we have to cover it. Samir says, but HBO Watchmen show was well written.
Not as an adaptation of Watchmen, because from what I heard, it was bad if you're a Watchmen fan.
Tavia says, I'm hoping for a standalone DC animated projects like we used to get back in the day that aren't connected to a universe again.
They could go with that, honestly.
So like something like, let's say, Public Enemy,
DC
Batman
Showcase, do
Yeah.
a bunch of those showcase shorts where they have all these other characters.
Yeah, that would actually work too. But it's DC though. What really can they do? I would like to see them tackle a comic which has never been done before, right?
But the problem is, like Sam Liu said on the show, they probably won't do that because they want stuff that's going to bring in eyes. So that's why you only get like Death of Superman, Batman, Hush.
Jared Samir says you should watch it.
Not interested.
Tevye says, wasn't that Watchmen show a sequel to Watchmen book, but not as good as my opinion?
I saw parts of it and I'm just like, nah, I'm good. It's not for me.
Tevye says no Blackest Night movie. No, sadly not.
You can't do a Blackest Night movie because you would have to set up the other parts of Jeff Johns' Green Lantern. That's one that you cannot do.
Unfortunately.
If they try and do it without the setup, it's not going to make a lot of sense.
Yeah. So, I was going to ask this, Jared, because before we wrap up, because we're getting up to the hour mark, I was going to say this, right? If it's a gaming related stuff, how hyped would you be if it's the Wonder Woman game itself?
If they actually announce something, yes, I will be freaking hyped. If they actually take the time, if they actually give me an announcement, because so far I don't know anything about that freaking Wonder Woman game.
Samir says, what if he announces Plastic Man starring Ben Swatch?
I don't care because it means that Plastic Man is getting something before Wonder Woman. My mind is I don't give two craps whatever they announce unless it's a Wonder Woman thing, because Diana gets nothing.
Gets the flack, yeah.
You're telling me that like Adam Strange, Plastic Man are getting projects before Wonder Woman, and she's supposedly the third member of the Trinity? That's why I have no respect for Gunn in Charge, because he's giving all of the D-listers their shots before establishing your main characters.
So Tevye says this could explain why we get Infinite Crisis, the final Crisis of this animated movie, which is sad because both events are really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tevye says, if we get the Wonder Woman game video game, that would be really awesome and badass, because that game deserves something over nothing. You know what? As a video game guy, as the lord of video games, you guys know I've been so hyped up for this Wonder Woman game since the announcement. I've been, talking about the stuff that we talked about on the show. We've talked like the leaks and stuff. We've even discussed about the potential of what the Wonder Woman game could be. We talked about villains. We could talk about the gameplay. We talked about a lot of things that this game potentially could have. And if they show at San Diego Comic-Con, it will blow whatever Marvel has in terms of video games. Especially considering that they just released the Marvel Rivals beta yesterday. The fact that it's going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, but there's nothing Marvel games related there. So
yeah,
this would one up on them. Tevye says, you and me both, I'm excited for that game as well. Okay, cool. So I think that's a good place to wrap things up perfectly, because we've got a show to do in a bit. Because Jared's got the recording to UTC. Samir says, Jared, love, relax, is be okay, not important. The order it's released.
I'm sorry, because it actually is important, because the way that you establish a universe is you go with it shows where their priorities are, and their priorities are not on the three characters that everyone thinks of when they think of DC. That's why I'm a little pissed off. Plus, there's nothing about Paradise Lost that identifies as a Wonder Woman project except the Amazons.
And Tevye says, if SDCC DC News just cancel the Suicide Squad game,
why would that be an announcement they make at SDCC? Why?
I'd cancel and replace it with Justice League game. I'd be happy.
And,
They're not
and
going to cancel. They're not going to cancel the game. That's the thing,
no,
Tevye.
why would they do that? And by the way,
What?
Samir, no, just because it worked for the MCU, the only reason why, well, here's the thing. The MCU did not have access to its prime characters. DC does. I got news for you. DC characters are more iconic, particularly Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, than the Marvel characters. That's the other thing you got to establish.
And
then
the DC characters were established before the Marvel characters.
No, but not only that. With the MCU, they just established these are our prime characters that we're going to use. These are going to be the priority characters throughout. That's why we got all these characters. The problem is that DCEU gave us Suicide. No, but she was introduced in Batman versus Superman.
Yep, she was introduced in BVS.
So technically, we got Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman introduced and established in the first two movies, as a matter of fact. Then you got Suicide Squad, a little palate cleanser. Then you got Wonder Woman. There you go.
Which was actually a good movie.
Which is fantastic. But my point is, you got the universe basic. You got the bare bones established right there. You had a Wonder Woman. You had everything established. Then there.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
And Tevye says, which WB needs a break from Suicide Squad for a long time.
Yeah. They probably will be. Well, they're not, because they'll just.
Wonder Woman won't be in Superman.
No, James Gunn already confirmed it, because he likes to ruin people's fun. But it's heavier. They're not taking a break from Suicide Squad. Do you know why? That's what Creature Commandos is. That's what one of the producers literally said. It's Suicide Squad.
Cameron says, also when Phase 1 is coming out, no one knew Iron Man, Captain America, Marvel. Only knew Spider-Man and X-Men.
Yeah, so everyone knows Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. You should be because if you start off with the characters that people know, guess what? More people are gonna show up. That's why Blue Beetle, no matter how good that movie was, which it was a good movie. That's why no one showed up in the theaters for it, because no one knew who the hell Blue Beetle was.
And it shifted to animation.
Notice that. Because you could get away with that for animation. So once you get it'll be fine. However, whatever order they drop this movie's not. Yeah, but movies determine the comics. Movies determine which character gets the like emphasis. Because I got news for you. These companies don't give a crap about the comics at all. They care about the comics as marketing material for the movies. Everything services the movies. So if Wonder Woman is not a priority in the movies, which she never is with DC, she's not going to be a priority in the comics, which she isn't anyway.
And Tevye says, God damn it. So it's so Creature Commando is Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Why WB obsessed with that squad? Like, I don't get it.
Who's running DC Studios? That's why.
But I'll say this, right, before we wrap up, right? I'll say this. The way James Gunn is handling this is not professional, right? He's not exactly saying, okay, give us, for example, we don't care if it's we want Wonder Woman before Creature Commandos or before Batman Brave and the Bold, right? The way I would have done it is, yes, you start off with Superman, then you give us the character which everyone knows, Batman, then you do a Wonder Woman project, but it could either be animation, video game, or you could do a TV show, a proper live action TV show.
Yeah,
that would work.
That's the way it works.
Samir, here's the thing. I know you like James Gunn, like more than Snyder.
I got news for you. James Gunn is not the DC Jesus that everyone thinks he is. In fact, so far, all of his DC projects have pretty much flopped. So really, he's not that Jesus that you all think he is.
Cameron says, Jared is making sense, to be honest.
Thank you. You establish because here's the thing. If you have if you have people showing up for Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, then, and assuming those projects are good, people are going to show up for the other ones. That's why with the MCU, you got a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, because I've always said this, because when it came to Marvel, because you all like to use the MCU example, Marvel had established enough positive goodwill that when people saw that no one is thinking out James Gunn, have you seen Twitter, Samir? Saying no one is actually is actually very like not true. Have you seen Twitter? They treat it like he's DC's Jesus.
There's a lot of people, Samir, that you probably don't see but I've seen it from my own eyes.
My point is, James Gunn is not the savior of DC that people think he is. You can admit when he makes bad decisions. And honestly, not emphasizing Wonder Woman is a boneheaded, stupid decision.
But if James Gunn blows our socks off for Superman, that's a different story.
I'll still say it's stupid that we're not getting Wonder Woman, but I'll have a little more confidence.
Yeah. He has to blow our socks off, though, for Superman. That's what he has to legitimately blow our socks off. Randy says, if I was James Gunn, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman would be my number one priority.
Yes.
Even David Zaslav said,
the boss said Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are actually separate brands from DC. That's how emphasized they are.
He literally said Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman were the main priorities for DC.
Mm-hmm.
He said that is coming from the head of Warner Brothers Discovery, not James Gunn.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it should be. Randy says that's a pretty big if. Yes, but he has to at this point.
He has to, because if Superman sucks, first off, I'm going to emphasize it. So because he hasn't announced it yet, you're mad. No, I'm mad that according to people that know the situation, they say it's not his priority until like 2020, like 8. But he's announced. But let me put it this way: First off, Creature Commando should not have been the first project you started off your universe. So you're already screwed up. Superman honestly should not. You should have started with Batman, because Batman is more of a draw for people. Then you bring in Superman. Then you bring in Wonder Woman. Because I got news for you. Wonder Woman is, according to DC, she's one of the Trinity. You need Superman, Batman. You need your established Justice Leaguers that are icons in their own right before you can establish the characters that no one's heard of.
But, you know, it is what it is. And honestly, if WB does end up selling off, which most likely scenario it might be, half these projects probably won't even, happen.
Here's my prediction if it is sold. You ready? All the list projects like Booster Gold, Swamp Thing, all that stuff, those are going to be gone.
Except for Constantine, because Constantine is a big IP.
It's a separate thing. I could see that one sticking. I could honestly see them saying, for right now, until we get a plan together, we're just going to cancel it.
Yeah, we're just going to get excited for SDCC anyway. But yeah. Jared, let's do our outros. Let the people know what you're coming up on your channel. And let them know where to follow you on Twitter and that.
So you can follow me at Comics League JT. I just got my blue check mark, so yeah. And for Under Two Capes this week, we're going to be talking about our favorite DC animated movies and projects. So that's Under Two Capes. For CLD, we're going to suspend CLD this week only because the extended cuts of Rebel Moon are coming out, and we're going to watch those or do a live reaction to the extended cuts for part 1. I may do part 2 on like Sunday, but the point is this Friday we're going to be reacting to part 1 of Rebel Moon. For Super Wonder Legacy, Britt and I are going to be talking about how Superman and Wonder Woman were represented in the Tomorrowverse in general, doing a full retrospective. And spoiler alert, we really liked it. I just released my spoiler review of Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3. Again, this is the first DC animated universe that respected Wonder Woman. So there you go. I really like that. And let's see, what else? In terms of movie night is just going to be Rebel Moon Part 1 extended. We're just going to go with that because it's Snyder stuff.
That's why it is on Friday anyway.
And obviously, I'll be here next week to react to SDCC, all the cool announcements and such. And yeah, that's what I got coming out.
So and yeah, Pika says, and you'll be voicing Superman soon. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, and don't forget, guys, Jared will be going to go and see Wolverine and Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, so expect a tweet review or something like that next week.
So there won't be any. Will you be able to do the gaming stream tomorrow?
Yes,
or no?
yes, because my showing is at 7:55.
Okay, so we'll be doing Suicide Squad tomorrow. Anyway,
Oh god.
for me,
I forgot. No! Fine. I don't want you to do it alone. That's kind of our thing. Gunn just texted me. Oh, sure. Sure.
nice show, Samir. Nice show.
Sure.
Anyway, for me, guys, my content. So I'll be doing the Marvel Rivals beta tomorrow at one point. If I get the code, I'll be sure to stream it before the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League stream, and I'll be making sure that I'll be doing Twitch drops. So if you guys come over to the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Taladia Plays, you guys as well get a chance to get into the beta as well. So if you guys want to, make sure you follow me over there. And if you want to check me out on Twitter, it's at Taladia Plays _. That's where I post all the DC, Marvel, gaming, all of that stuff in the on Twitter. But also, guys, on YouTube, remember Suicide Squad, Marvel Rivals beta, and potentially I'll see if I can co-stream Rebel Moon. Maybe not. I'll have to see depending on the time. But I'll be sure to have more content for you guys. And then next week, SDCC is a special stream because it's a 2K special stream. We'll be talking about you guys and also we'll be covering SDCC. So with that being said, Jared, as always, take us away with the final words.
Lois Lane is Lois Lane. She belongs to General Zod. Zoe is the Maxibat for life. See you later.
All right. See you guys later. Peace out.